Look, I can't help but think that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice. Please
do not know. There's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice?
Warm water, baby.
It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
It is a Saturday at noon. That means it's time for a little bit of fire and ice coming at you. Oh, my goodness.
That sounded great. Thank you.
That's on me. That's on
my
me.
ears.
My bad.
My ears. I can't hear.
It happens from time to time. I'll peek from every now and then. But Mike Tipton hanging out with Brandon the Iceman Cohen. We got our dude, David Halpern, hanging out with us today as well over here at Buffalo Wild Wings, 655 Sunland Park Drive. Come on out here and check out the Bottomless Apps. You might not know this about me, but I love whenever everything is bottomless, including Brandon the Iceman Cohen. Brandon, tell everybody about the specials we've got going on.
So this shtick is wonderful. It's phenomenal. $9.99, mix and match, okay? You start with two. You get the mozzarella sticks, the onion rings, the fried pickles, hatch queso, chips, and salsa. $2.99 per person over four. Then you can upgrade if you're feeling silly. $12.99, and then $3.49 per person over four. Add the cheese curds, the chips, and guacamole. Tip and I are going to put them out of business literally once the show ends at 1 o'clock. And I'll tell you what, they also have late night happy hour. You can get great specials on 3 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 p.m. $2 off all tall drafts and margaritas, $2 off signature cocktails, $3 shorty shots, and, of course, your appetizers are $6. A lot of good stuff, man. Tell me that's not a good shtick, and I'm happy to see you again. It's been a minute.
I was going to say, I'm happy to see you, too. It's been we figured this out because we've had a lot of stuff going on, off and on, being able to do the show. The last time we did the show, I wasn't able to eat because I had to go do work. Yeah. This is the first time that we're able to eat at Buffalo Wild Wings in almost 3 months.
Yes, because I had a thing. Remember, my daughter had a thing, and then, of course, I had an eye thing where, I could hardly see out of one eye. That was great. I enjoyed that very much. Destiny's like, you should leave, And but anyways, now, thank God, I'm feeling good. You're feeling good. The kids are great, and we can have a good grease after the show, finally.
And that's what matters the most. Not the rest of the stuff. The fact that we can actually have food now
right?
after the show.
Yes.
That's what matters the most. All right, Brandon. A lot of stuff has gone on over the last couple of weeks. We are in the middle of the NBA playoffs. The Western Conference semifinal is already set. The Eastern Conference, not so much, but the Knicks did move on after absolutely obliterating. I don't know if you saw that game or not. Absolutely obliterating the Atlanta Hawks by 51 points. It was a 50-point lead at halftime. And at one point in the second quarter, like we're halfway through the second quarter, the Atlanta Hawks had only scored 25 points. I love a good blowout, but, man, it makes me not want to watch basketball.
Yeah, I mean, when you see things like that, it just shows you how non-competitive the sport can truly be and how the great teams are great and the bad teams are really, really bad. I mean, that's really bad for ratings. It's bad for the game. I mean, when it's like 80-something to 30-something at halftime, what a disparity. I mean, you think the other team that's losing by 50 or whatever it is, my arithmetic may be a little off. That's why I'm not a math teacher. But, you say, geez, are they really that bad or is the other team really that good? So, I mean, that it's just not good for the league. But, I guess occasionally blowouts do happen like that.
And I guess that's the thing, right? It's like whenever you look at the playoffs, you will see some disparity between teams every now and then. The biggest issue being the fact that the Atlanta Hawks are not a really good team. They overachieved to be able to get there, trading Trae Young in the middle of the season. You didn't have any expectations for them. The New York Knicks, though, I think people have a level of expectation on now, seeing as they made the Eastern Conference Final last year. People are expecting them to, kind of move forward, take that next step forward for the New York Knicks. In the Eastern Conference, we also have the Boston Celtics, who are struggling right now with the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia able to come back from a 3-1 deficit to tie at 3-3. Going into Game 7, the best thing in basketball is at Game 7. It can get ugly sometimes, but I think these two teams are really matched up evenly between a healthy Philadelphia 76ers team and now the Boston Celtics, who finally got Jason Tatum back and all that. It should be a good Game 7. The winner of that Game 7, Boston and Philadelphia, will take on the New York Knicks in the next round of the playoffs. What are your thoughts on that? Or have you even seen any playoffs? That's what I know.
I mean, a little bit here and there. I mean, I watched a little bit of the Lakers series. I was happy about them advancing and beating Houston. And I think, I think everybody and their brother obviously would like to see Doncic come back and to certainly give them a better boost, a better opportunity to maybe make the finals and make another run. Out in the East, I mean, Philadelphia has definitely impressed me. I mean, I think that, I didn't expect them to be as good as they've been thus far. And I mean, at this point, nothing really surprises me. I will say that I am very happy for your Spurs advancing and now facing, of course, the T-Wolves. I think that's going to be a great series. I think it has the potential to go 7 games. But I think the San Antonio Spurs have a great shot of winning that series. I really do.
I think the Spurs will win that series as well. I agree with you on that aspect of it, but I will argue back on this, Brandon. I don't think it's going to be a close series. One of the teams out there that I was really worried about as a Spurs fan was the Denver Nuggets, because I'm sure you don't know because you're not as into basketball as I am, but the Spurs ended the season winning 30 out of their last 34 games. However, 3 of those 4 losses at the end of the season were to the Denver Nuggets.
Yes.
So it seemed like the Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic and them boys had the Spurs number in that aspect of it. This year, the Spurs dominated the Minnesota Timberwolves. And what's going to make it more difficult for the Minnesota Timberwolves is this: if Anthony Edwards is hurt and it's going to be a sustained injury, Dante DiVincenzo isn't there. They're also missing the backup guard as well, who had an awesome game. He had a calf strain. You're not going to be able to bring him back. I just can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. But he had like a career game in the playoffs versus the Denver Nuggets as well. He's been showing himself out there as well. If you cannot take on the San Antonio Spurs at 100%, and the Spurs are 100% the way that they are right now, it's going to be a tough ask for any team because the Spurs already have a cheat code with Victor Wembanyama. Now you're asking the team to pick up more of the slack without a superstar like Anthony Edwards. I can see it being close because the Spurs are a super young team. Maybe they don't have that killer mentality just yet, but I don't see a way that this series goes 7.
No, I mean, I think maybe 6, but maybe at the most. But I will say this much. I mean, yes, they're a very young team, but sometimes when you just get thrown into the mix, you get that killer instinct really, really quickly. And I feel that this is the team on the verge of greatness. They really are. I mean, they're young and, they're working around Wembanyama, but ultimately, like you said, I mean, you can't mess with momentum, and winning 30 or 34 to end the season is certainly, to me, made them one of the favorites. And I know you may not have a lot of faith in them because they're so young, but again, there's nothing like actually getting the experience right now as we speak.
I see them do small mental mistakes. And you know me, basketball purist, you cannot make those little mistakes in the biggest moments. They were able to get by Portland because Portland just wasn't a great team.
No.
If they do move on, the Spurs, and they get to the Western Conference Finals versus Oklahoma City, who I think is probably going to just handle the Lakers, especially without Doncic. If it's Oklahoma City, they cannot afford those mistakes. If it is the LA Lakers, like me as a fan, like I want it to be the LA Lakers because that to me is the easiest route to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see the Lakers having anybody on that team that can stop Victor Wembanyama. There's just not a defensive presence there. And all season long, the San Antonio Spurs dominated both the Thunder and the Lakers, but it was a little more dominant against the LA Lakers. So I'm wanting the Lakers to do the impossible. And also, people might not appreciate this about LeBron James. The way that the Lakers beat the Houston Rockets with literally just a geriatric LeBron James, the oldest player in the NBA, leading that series in scoring and rebounding and all the stuff that LeBron does, against a fully healthy until the last couple of games Houston Rockets team. LeBron James carrying what was left of the Lakers because Austin Reeves didn't come back until Game 5, and Luka Doncic missed the entire series. We got to give LeBron a little bit of love on that.
Absolutely. No, a lot of credit needs to be given because, I'm sure a lot of people thought they're going to bow out in the first round against, Houston. But I tell you what, give them a chance. And like I said, get Doncic back healthy. And I'd love to see them in San Antonio in the conference finals in the Western Conference. That would be tremendous. It would be phenomenal. I think it could happen. I really do think it could happen. What's the status on Doncic? What's the latest on him? Do you think he's going to come back?
There's a chance that he comes back in the middle of this series, but obviously, and that would be the frustrating thing as someone who, if I was a Lakers fan, as someone who knows a bunch of Mavericks fans as well, the biggest issue with Luka was always his ability to stay healthy, his training regimen, the way he treats his body isn't at the level that you would expect it to be for a high caliber NBA player. But that's what you get. You get, the great things that he can do on the court with the occasional, he's going to miss some games because he's just out of shape.
Just the worst time of the year to miss.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, do it during the regular season, not now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be the ideal way of doing it, right?
So
Wemby missed a bunch of games in the regular season.
He did. Regular season is time to miss games, obviously. So it takes away a lot of their arsenal.
And then I don't know if you saw the one game that Wembanyama missed in the playoffs is whenever his face went straight into the court.
Yeah.
Because again, at 7'5", he's taller than 7'5".
He's 7'7", isn't he?
But at 7'5", listed by the team,
It's crazy.
like a giraffe, like a newborn giraffe, stumbling
giraffe,
around. His face just went straight into the court. I was there thinking to myself, at 5'10", it would hurt hitting the court. Could you imagine the inertia at 7'5"?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big man, you know.
But he misses that one game, comes back, and then is just going on a complete tear for the Spurs. Ended the series averaging 27 points a game, 15 rebounds, and 7 blocks a game.
Amazing. Just amazing.
It's insane that we get to watch this. Like I really
beautiful.
am happy as a Spurs fan.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. You have to love it. And of course, like you noted, and you know, being a Spurs fan, it's just wonderful nowadays because after the whole, you know, the team that they were winning 5 championships in the 90s and 2000s and all that, and of course Popovich and all that. You know, you think about how hard it is to achieve that feat and how hard it is to even get this good this fast. Yep. So if you consider that, you had to think, who knew how long it was going to take to be this good. But you even said when they got Wembanyama, you told me this kid's incredible. You mark my word, within a couple of years, they're going to be a contender again. You weren't BSing me, man.
And that's the crazy thing about it, right? So like you mentioned it right there at the top. As a Spurs fan, I didn't even realize. I guess I did, but like I didn't. It didn't hit me that it had been 7 years since they made the playoffs.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
They have been so consistently good ever since they came to the NBA. Again, like a constant playoff team, a constant thing like that. So yeah, sure, you miss 7 seasons. There's issues and things like that happen with the team, COVID, et cetera, all that good stuff. Popovich, you know, having the stroke and having the health issues that he had. Now going over to Mitch Johnson, who's done those are some big shoes to fill coming in after Popovich.
Sure.
And Mitch Johnson has done a pretty damn good job.
He sure as hell has. Yeah,
especially if he wins a championship in the next couple of years.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. And it's the fact that they're just so good, so fast, and already a great contender this year. You and I both agree they're going to go to at least the conference finals and then some. I mean, it's a work of art to actually see this right now. And I'm happy for you because I know how much you enjoy that team. I really do. You know. It's an old school Spurs hat too.
It is. I had to go with the old school. Yeah, man.
I love that. Dude.
Whenever they played at the Alamo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Those are Alamo. Those are Dennis Rodman days, right?
Oh man. A lot of people don't realize. Like again, my Spurs fandom goes way back, right? So my favorite player on the Spurs was Antoine Carr, and I don't know if you remember, he used to wear glasses, but they were tinted red.
Yeah.
I absolutely love.
Didn't he end up going on to play with the '90s and with the Jazz? Right.
Yes.
He was a utility player. So your favorite?
He was actually really like important on the Jazz
very
as well
important,
during those
very
like 97, 98 runs.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a hell of a player. And I remember seeing him play down here with the Jazz when they had an exhibition game in the late 90s. Who's your favorite Spur of all time?
My favorite Spur of all time, I mean, it's going to be Tim Duncan. Like without a doubt, it's Tim Duncan. But like if we don't go with the stars, right? If it's not like a Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili type,
the Iceman,
one of those guys, right? To me, the Iceman was a star.
Yeah,
right. Like that. Yeah. That's got to be one of the guys. You're my favorite.
Well,
Iceman.
yeah,
you're my favorite Iceman.
Thank you. I knew you were going to say that.
One of my like favorite all time Spurs players that just wasn't like a huge star is like Vinny Del Negro.
Oh yeah, love Del Negro.
And one of the coolest things about it is whenever I was working at ESPN, like he was one of the basketball analysts there, so I have his phone number in my phone.
So you just see him all the time.
He follows me on social media and stuff like that. It's like, man, Vinny, like a guy that I used to love watching,
sure,
is now tangentially an acquaintance.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, hey man, I and you got to love a guy like that. You really do. A very important part of numerous Spurs teams and whatnot. So yeah, definitely.
I just wish that he would have been on the teams whenever they won like multiple championships because I believe he got like he had that little bit of a retirement. And then like Sean Elliott's one of those guys.
Oh yeah,
too. Just that legendary shot on Memorial Day where it's 4 seconds he just gets the ball on the out of bounds line and just throws it up, and it winds up beating the Portland Trailblazers in Game 7. And that was the start of the Spurs dynasty as we know it now going forward. So that was the 1999 NBA playoffs. Sean Elliott hits that shot. The Spurs win the championship against the New York Knicks.
The 8th
and then
seed.
it just kind of just built its way
That was
up.
the strike-shortened season.
Yes.
50 games.
Yes.
And, that was it was a great season. It really was, even though it was, abbreviated. But, yeah, that's absolutely and what got the Spurs going. And Tim Duncan, of course, that was the piece that they absolutely needed to start winning championships.
Hey, you're like a Bulls fan, right? Like
Huge
just
Bulls
straight
fan.
Bulls
Huge
fan.
Bulls fan. I mean, that's my team. Obviously, I grew up watching them win championships.
Favorite player that wasn't like a huge star? Because I got a guy in my mind.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, right? Like
I mean, I always was a huge John Paxson fan, and I mean, I really was. I like John Paxson. I think he was clutch. He was obviously a key role player in the first 3 championships, and I'll never forget that game-winning 3-pointer against Phoenix. 93 that gave them their first three-peat. And so yeah, if I'm going to pick a non-superstar player, John Paxson was pretty damn good.
So a lot of people, I think just because we've known each other for such a long time, but I started off as a Bulls fan just because of being born on Jordan's birthday in his rookie year. First name, like obviously I got all the things to become a Jordan fan no matter what. I became a Spurs fan whenever he retired, and I said I don't have a tie to the Bulls. I have a tie to Michael Jordan.
Sure.
So like I was looking around. David Robinson looked like he was cut out of a damn comic book. So that's what I was like, I'm going to go with this guy over here.
Sure.
Avery Johnson. Loved me some Avery Johnson. But my favorite Bulls player at the time was Stacey King.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love Stacey King.
Sure. Stacey King. I love Stacey King. And great, role player again. I mean, the fella's cool. He's a good friend of my brother's, because my brother worked for Comcast Sportsnet in Chicago, and he's supposedly a really good guy. I also like Judd Bushler, and Randy Brown. I mean, you talk about the dudes
Randy Brown because of Mexico State.
Because of NMSU. Here's the thing. I was also always a big Kukoc fan, and Kukoc was a hell of a player. He really was. He's definitely one of the better European players we've seen in NBA history, hands down. I mean, you know what I mean?
I always think about and I want to say hello to Ashley. She mentioned us over here on YouTube as well, saying, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Ashley? Hope that you're having yourself a great time. Be sure to listen to her podcast talking about it with Ashley. They talk about all the mental health stuff and all the stuff that's out there, right?" But I always think about this whenever it comes down to like players like Tony Kukoc or Vitas Sabonis, right? Detlef Schrempf. If these European players had come over to the United States earlier, or if they played now, could you imagine how dominant Tony Kukoc would be right now?
Oh, my
how
goodness.
dominant Arvydas Sabonis would be right now? It was a washed-up, geriatric version of Arvydas Sabonis that was giving a prime Shaquille O'Neal problem.
Sure.
Like just imagine that.
Sabonis, to me, the greatest flat-footed shooter I've ever seen in my life. That dude, he
did not have a jump shot. He did not go in the air at all.
He'd sit there from 20 feet away or from three-point line and literally just have the most beautiful wrist shot. It didn't jump off the damn ground.
Well,
and he was incredible.
Whenever you're 7'3", you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
And of course, big reason why, those Portland Trailblazers teams were so good in the 90s and contended for championships because of Sabonis and obviously Clyde the Glide. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, oh, man. And I think about that, too. Like, he just recently passed away. I'd spoken about it a couple of weeks ago. Oscar Schmidt. If Oscar Schmidt had been able to, and I hate that the Olympics had this rule that if you were a professional, you weren't able to play. So he stayed, quote unquote, amateur and then played in Brazil so that way he could represent his national team. If basketball had just put that damn thing aside earlier, what kind of career and how fast the progression of the agile, able to shoot big man would have been in basketball? Because, and like we're seeing what I think has to be the apex of it, right? With Victor Wembanyama, a 7'5" guard that's 7'5" somehow, that can handle the ball, that can pass, that can block, that can steal, that can do all kinds of stuff, is just an absolutely dominant player. We probably would have been here years previously if those dumb rules had not been in place.
Oh, no doubt. They were asinine rules, and they affected the big man, unfortunately. It's about time they've been given their due, because they've really proven the evolution of the big man is that he's not just about being a dominant center or being able to play a 4 or 5. It's being able to play every true position on the court and being able to be that versatile guy to where he's going to be able to shoot from anywhere, and he's going to be a good defender, and he's going to be pretty much unstoppable, especially in the low post. You know what I mean?
And I never understood that, right? Like playing basketball my whole life, and it was like, hey, put your back to the basket, try to back someone down, turn around, hit a shot. You're not looking at the basket, man.
No.
Like, you got your back to it.
You got your back to it, absolutely.
Or why not, front face, kind of like what Tim Duncan did. Front face, eye him, give him some moves, and then hit him with that shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always just a thing of beauty. And now we're being able to see guys, again, like Wembanyama, like Jokic out here, who are able to put the ball on the court, do whatever the hell they want. Look at Jokic averaging a damn triple-double. He is built like a jar of mayonnaise. And he's out here averaging and dominating the NBA right now.
Absolutely. It's tremendous. I love the Jokic. We've talked about how much we've enjoyed him. And, excuse me, when it's all said and done, he's got his ring. He's got his ring. I mean, which is wonderful.
Well, not just that, like, when it's all said and done, you have to give that dude his respect. He is one of the greatest that has ever done it.
Absolutely.
And again.
Absolutely. And it's really hard to win that ring. It really is. You look at that magical season they had.
Yeah.
What was it, about 4 years ago now?
Yeah.
I think, approximately.
Wow.
And it was a hell of a run.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a run. Now, I just for me, it's like I always look at the big man. I'm always rooting for the big man. That's just me. You know what I mean?
Well, because you're a big man.
Well, I'm a big man. You're a gorilla too. And you're like a mini-sized gorilla. But anyways, I mean, I look at the big fella and I'm like, I like this guy. He's like one of me. It's like, come on now, he's one of us.
Yeah, both of us well over 6'9".
Yes.
Both of us,
we both butter our bacon.
A nice slim 297 pounds.
We both refer to ourselves as fat men, which is funny the way you always do that still to this day.
Well, I'm a big fat guy.
Or,
so why
really,
not?
But
or the politically correct way, all muscle.
Yes, it's
it's
all muscle. It's all muscle.
I look stronger than you. I'm a strong muscle fellow. Look at
you are 100%. Brandon the bodybuilder cone. Just nice and oiled up. That's what we do.
Today we look like a black and white cookie.
No, we really did an Oreo.
You have the I didn't think about that just until now. That's pretty funny.
It's a black and white cookie. It's an
But
Oreo.
I love the black
That's
and
the only
white
thing I
cookies.
can think about,
They're
right?
really good,
Okay, so obviously you know me. I can talk about basketball all day. I don't want to feel like I'm boring people because anytime I talk about basketball, I don't get the reaction on my show, any other shows that I want. It's always people just want to talk about the NFL, the NFL, the NFL. We haven't been able to talk about the NFL draft. I don't know how much of the NFL draft you got to watch. I didn't get to watch any of it because obviously the team was here in town. Homestand, I'm not able to watch TV.
Yeah.
But I did see some of the picks that the Dallas Cowboys did, and I was extremely happy with the fact that they did spend their first 3 picks on defense. That number 10 overall pick or number 11 overall pick that they wound up trading up to get on Caleb Downs, who I think is going to be great in the secondary, and then going out there and getting Malachi Lawrence to help out the defensive line. The Dallas Cowboys on defense should be better this year? Question mark.
I mean, there's no doubt they're going to be better. And I say that just because Downs is arguably the best player in the defense, in terms of in the draft defensively. Okay.
I mean, Arvell Reese, and he did go to the Giants.
He's got everything. He's got the pedigree. He's obviously got, his production, his tackling abilities. He's going to shut down his side of the field. I don't know if everyone's saying, hey, are you going to become an Ed Reed? Are you going to be another primetime? That's to be determined, obviously. But in terms of, you look at how Dallas moved up to get him, that was good drafting. That was good drafting because you arguably get the best player on the draft. You do something that, despite having Diggs and despite having, Bland, it still was, there were a lot of deficiencies and a lot of holes to fill. And this is, to me, what's going to help them get over the hump. It was a tremendous move. I loved it.
Picking up Downs is great for the Dallas Cowboys because you look at the way that they lost a lot of games last year. It was the fact that they would get beaten over the top, right? Like your safety play was horrible. Now, I know that they have Downs listed as a safety. I think he's more versatile than a safety. He's more like a nickel corner to me. But if you still play him at safety, now you're protecting over the top of getting, the top knocked off you the way that they did just constantly last year. So for me, that was awesome for the Dallas Cowboys to do that. Then you go, again, Malachi Lawrence, right? Look at what the Cowboys have done with the draft picks and with the players that they were able to get for that Micah Parsons trade, right? Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, Malachi Lawrence. That's all 3 positions along the defensive line with a grand total of $56 million a year in salary cap, just those 3 guys. Whereas if you only had Micah Parsons, you're paying that man $48 million for just one dude's production. Again, I told you whenever it happened, I thought it was a very lateral trade. Depending on how this goes, I could really see a scenario right here where it looks early on at least that the Cowboys have won that trade.
I feel they have. I do. And again, to me, it's all about the type of moves that you make ultimately that's going to determine, hopefully, your next season. And to me, we argue and we've gotten on their case a lot for how they've drafted and the certain trades they've made. Well, you know what? Yes, a lot of people may be upset that they got George Pickens on, the whole situation where, it may be a 1-year thing. I mean, the offer sheet and all that. And, but you franchise tag a guy that only is going to get better next year. He's only going to get better next year with the Cowboys. You got your kicker. Okay, you got him locked up, he's the best kicker in the NFL. You have a tremendous offense. You already know that they have one of the best offenses in the league. All you needed to do was improve that defense, and I think they've done everything possible at this point to improve their defense.
I look at what the Dallas Cowboys have done, and again, I still see a lot of holes in this team, right? Like the linebacking core for the Cowboys has been very weak. I want to say the last 5 years or so. Ever since not just Van Der Esch had to retire, but like Sean Lee, right? Like it's been a while since the Cowboys have had someone that you can really depend upon in that linebacking area. So I look at that as a very questionable position group for the Dallas Cowboys. Wide receiver, I think they're great. I think they're solid. They've got everything that they need to have on the wide receiver side of the field. Offensively, I think the team is good. I like seeing them get an offensive lineman in the 4th round of the draft, a little bit of depth, right? Their offensive line has been really good over the last couple of years. I still don't look at them as a Super Bowl contending team, but I can see them winning that division. Like Philadelphia to me did not get exponentially better.
No.
The Giants, I do. If there's a team that I got to tip my hat to, it is the New York Giants. They have drafted really well over the last couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of like what happens with the New York Giants going forward. But I can see this division still being just between Philadelphia and Dallas. Dallas wins the division, makes the playoffs, more than likely loses in the playoffs because that's a vicious cycle of life that we live in as Dallas Cowboys fans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that stands out in that division in general. And I really do think, like I noted, that the Dallas Cowboys have done what is necessary to be able to win that division. And look, I think it's funny, the whole Philadelphia thing. I thought it was hilarious with the receiver that they acquired because I'm sure you heard, the whole Dallas was on the phone making trades or whatever. And Pittsburgh actually was supposed to get that kid. And then all of a sudden it seemed like Philly leapfrogged him to get him, the kid from Alabama, right?
Lemon, yep.
Yeah. It's like, what a shtick. And you get that to the hometown team who's hosting the draft. I thought that was hilarious.
I mean, that's on Pittsburgh. You want the guy, you got to make a move to go get the guy. You can't just, not be on the phone. And if I'm not mistaken, that was a trade that Philadelphia made with the Cowboys. They give them the 1st-round pick, and I want to say it was 2 4th-round picks that wind up going to the Dallas Cowboys as well, kind of stacking up draft picks there for the Cowboys. Because, again, say what you will about the Dallas Cowboys, what they've done in free agency, what they've done on the field. They have drafted very well.
I give them a great draft grade. I mean, I was very happy with their draft. Look, like I said, you addressed almost all of your defensive needs, and that's what we needed to have it as. Arguably, we even said maybe they should even get an offensive player in the draft. I think they got 2 offensive players, right?
Yes, offensive lineman and another wide receiver.
Or was a wide receiver? Okay.
Which I'm okay with. It's
I mean, sure. It's always good to have depth. We know they have a great 1 and 2, so they're fine there, and I mean, I'm never against getting that O-line and beefing up that O-line.
Yeah, no, depth along the offensive line to me, depth along the defensive line, the offensive line, the most important thing that you can have on the NFL field.
Absolutely. It all starts with the offensive line.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously a great defensive line is worth its weight in gold. You look at the teams that have been dominant and have gone on to win the Super Bowl the last several years. One thing they all have in common is an elite defensive line.
Yeah.
And that's what Dallas is starting to establish. We all thought they were cooked after trading away Micah Parsons. Now not looking like such a horrible trade.
Philadelphia, though, to me, still one of the enigmas there. I wonder how much longer they have in this window because that offensive line is getting older. You saw the issues last year. If Lane Johnson is not on that offensive line, that becomes a pretty bad team, especially offensively. Defensive line, it seems like they have some pieces there on defense, but they just can't get it together. Like they're such a weird team with me, and I don't know if that's because of Sirianni or what the issue is there with the Philadelphia Eagles, but I just expect more of them. You look at that roster, that is an all-star NFL, great caliber lineup that they have at almost every position. yet it still feels like they underachieve time after time.
Yeah,
and I'm saying this about a
absolutely.
team that won a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say a team that's underachieved. You know, we talked about this. If you win one in a decade, you're blessed.
Yeah.
And they've won their 2 in the last 10 years, right? They won in 17 and 23, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm completely okay with what they've done. If I'm an Eagles fan, you've done what you need to do, and I mean, every year from now on, for the next decade is like, hey,
you're good.
it's extra credit, Yeah. So, I mean,
I would do a lot to make sure I had a at least one championship over the last decade.
it would have been nice.
It's been 3 decades for us.
Yeah, and then some. Now it's now and counting. 95, right? So
Yeah. Well, I mean,
32 years.
If you want me to do the actual stuff here,
Arithmetic.
it was January 28th of 1996.
6. Okay, so exactly
we're,
30
we're
years.
going 30.
Exactly
31
30
years
yeah.
is where we're going.
Right.
But like I said, in a utopic world, you should win the championship once every 32 years. That means our Cowboys got 2 years remaining for utopia to happen.
Yeah, right. And, hey, we're almost there, man. That defense, what we've done defensively, that's going to be tremendous this year. It's going to be huge.
I mean, again, I do agree with you. I think that they've done a lot defensively. I still don't see them being a Super Bowl caliber team.
No, I don't. I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, we'll see what happens in terms of how much better that defense is. You never know how hot a team could get. It's really, I mean, who would have ever thought that Seattle was going to win the Super Bowl last year after their previous year?
Yeah.
So a lot goes on a good defense. And if this defense can be what I've heard, they've hyped it up as being a great defense. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say when your defense is based around a lot of draft picks. Because it's going to take a while for them to get acclimated to the NFL. They're not going to be the doomsday defense year one, right?
No.
So, I mean, it's going to take a couple years for them to establish, and obviously injuries happen and all the above, right? So, yeah, but they're going to be, to me, they're a playoff team, hopefully. They're at least a playoff team.
I mean, even look at last year, like how disappointing last season was. They were on the cusp of the playoffs until, week 14?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they still had a shot there at doing it. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys do what the Dallas Cowboys do, and they disappoint us in every way that they possibly can. But it does seem like, once again, they're trending in the right direction. It all depends to me on if you can keep George Pickens there and you have those 2 guys that are, number one wide receivers.
The 1 and the 1A. You need them.
You have to keep your offense as potent as that offense has been. Because without George Pickens and only CeeDee Lamb, that team is still really good, but not as good as they possibly can be. I want to see the Dallas Cowboys get that deal done before the end of this season.
They need to because, again, Pickens is going to have a great year. Pickens performed well. He had a few down games towards the end, but you think he performed well last year. Now he knows the offense. Now he's comfortable with Prescott. Now he's become the solid 1A, and he is 1A. He's not 2. He's 1A.
Yeah.
He's going to have a tremendous year. They better lock him up or someone else is going to, because he's at the prime of his career.
I was going to say, you cannot let this walk away.
You cannot let him walk away. He's too damn good.
You got him for basically nothing from Pittsburgh.
And he's amazing.
You should find a way to get this done. And then, of course, the salary cap increases after this year.
And also, you need to think about how well he did when Lamb was out for that 5 or 6 game stretch.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy. He was tremendous. He was everything they want him to be, and then some. You know what I mean?
As we know, the Dallas Cowboys have had their quarterback now, Dak Prescott, for the last 10 years.
Yes.
Is it too early to say that maybe the Cowboys should start looking in another direction? He's only getting more and more expensive. He's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, $58 million a year going forward from here on out.
I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs drafted a quarterback. So, I mean, here's the thing about a quarterback. In the ultimate, what have you done for me lately? He's one significant injury away from ending his career. It's always good to have a plethora of depth at quarterback. That's the one position you can never have enough QBs. And it's always great to have a good backup, and it's always good to have somebody in the waiting. I mean, he has been around for a while. He's still, to me, got several more years of youth.
You would hope so.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I think I give him 4 more years to be pretty damn good, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. But, I mean, I'm never against having another guy that's waiting and to take over and hold that clipboard for a while and get better at it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Do we think they already have that guy on the team, though, with Joe Milton? Because you can see the arm talent that Joe Milton has. It's just it doesn't seem like he's got it mentally yet.
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't think anybody in their right mind could have thought it was going to be Dak Prescott when he was there. You just never know who can come out of the woodwork. I mean, where is the next Kurt Warner? And quite oftentimes they're there. They just never get a chance to play. the NFL is a game of chance. It's one of the biggest games of chances that you ever see because there's so many amazing guys that are a second or third stringer that may never even get that opportunity, that who knows how great they could have been. So it's the ultimate game of you're one injury away from being a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, again, Kurt Warner, right? Like that's one of the guys there. Steve Young,
great
another one of those
absolutely
guys.
Great stories,
Like we've seen it happen a lot in the NFL. Keeping with the NFL draft theme and everything like that going on, the Las Vegas Raiders don't trade the number 1 overall pick. They wind up getting Fernando Mendoza. That's not going to be enough. They have Kurt Warner on not Kurt Warner.
Well, it's like he's
Kurt
back
Cousins.
again? Wow.
They have Kirk Cousins on the team.
That's awesome.
It should just be Kirk Cousins starts all season, and Mendoza just hangs out with a clipboard, right? It should be that way.
I mean, it should be. Kirk Cousins is a salvageable starter in the NFL. Good quarterback, decent quarterback. They're probably still going to struggle, obviously. They don't have a lot of offensive weapons. I mean, obviously, Gentry, you're set at tight end. Defensively, they've improved a little, but they're going to struggle. I mean, they're in a tough division and all that with Denver and KC and San Diego. But I mean, Superchargers. I just I love Mendoza. I think he's going to be a really good NFL quarterback. But I truly am a believer in the system and learning the system and not just being thrown at the wolves 6, 7, 8 games in. I feel you need a year like what Aaron Rodgers did to learn and become acclimated to the game. Maybe they throw you in there sparingly, in garbage time or whatever, but let him learn. Let him and some people will say, well, you're Meshuggah because the only way to learn is by throwing you into a game. Yeah, but do you really learn a lot at that point if you're always getting killed and all? You know what I mean? So that's just the way I look at it ultimately. I mean,
it also makes me wonder with the Las Vegas Raiders because they had 10 picks in this draft. And outside of Fernando Mendoza, which is obviously going to be like, okay, that was your number 1 overall pick. That's going to be the one that overshadows everybody. It didn't feel like I think they got one defensive end and one offensive lineman. That's not the way to build your team, right? Like, okay, you have your quarterback. Now what I would do is I would just go so heavy on the offensive line.
Offensive
Make sure
line.
he's standing up
for
straight.
Gentry too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got a generational running back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean shit if you don't have a friggin' line to block for either one of them, right?
And Brock Bowers as well.
And he's a generational talent.
Yeah.
Arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, sure, he had a little bit of a down year. He was plagued by injuries last year, but when he's healthy, he's amazing. He really is. Yeah. So, again, you got to love the teams that have a hard-on for a great quarterback and of course, the stud running back and a tight end, blah, 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 blah. But we've talked about this. A good GM is starting from the ground up, and that's your offensive line and your defense, your offensive line and your defensive line, because all of your other players are only as good as they are. That's it.
You either protect the quarterback or you get to the quarterback.
That's it.
That's the most important thing.
A hard lesson Patrick Mahomes had to learn when he didn't have a good offensive line.
Oh, 100%. You saw what the cost of that was. One in that Super Bowl against Philadelphia where the Eagles just dominated Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And then 2 this past season where, yes, you can talk all the shit you want about the Kansas City Chiefs offense. It wasn't a Mahomes problem. It wasn't a receiving core problem. It was he had no time to throw. He is arguably the greatest quarterback we have ever seen, at least arm talent wise. But you can't throw from your back.
No, and we've seen it so many times where a team that we thought was really great lacked that star offensive lineman, and really it only takes 1 or 2 great offensive linemen, a dominant center and a great guard, to establish the rest of the offensive line. But ultimately they don't have that chemistry and they don't have the ponies, and they get killed in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
To me, I think we agree you got to have a really good center, but to me it's that tackle position.
Oh,
you're protecting that
blind side. Yeah. If you don't have somebody protecting the most important side for a quarterback, then you're asking yourself for failure. You're setting 100%. Yourself up for failure. You really 100%. Are. You really are.
There were a lot of questions in this draft, and obviously to me there wasn't a lot of can't miss guys. I still don't think Mendoza's that guy. I want to believe you. I want to think that he's that guy.
I love him. But again, it's in college. It doesn't mean such a different game. Such a different game in the NFL. It really is.
The amount of I get in these little loops on TikTok where it talks about college football championship winning quarterbacks that just didn't do shit in the NFL.
A lot of them, quite a
ton
few of them,
A
you know,
ton of
and
them.
it doesn't always translate over, you know, and that's the thing is that, and I understand, I will use the analogy that nowadays you're almost playing, you're literally, you know, for a decent program, you're almost playing professional ball now. You are playing professional ball, getting paid and all that, but these guys are all going to the NFL, a good majority of the team. But again, they're not established NFL players.
Yeah.
They haven't been playing for 10 years and are bigger and faster and doing more roids. So, you know, it's like, then you have a little bit of a problem once you get to the NFL. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, you know,
not just the roids, not just the roids thing to go along with it too, but like now you're talking about money.
Yeah.
Like real money, generational changing type of money.
Yes.
And you got the guys on your team that are going to be like, look, if you're garbage, I need to get the hell off this team.
Exactly.
Because I don't want my future in the hands of a quarterback who's just not good.
Yeah, I mean, and that happens, unfortunately. And, you know, it's amazing because one thing that we see, too, is whenever the quarterback goes down, he's a decent quarterback like a Danny Dimes or whatever for Indy, how much it affects the rest of the team.
Oh, yeah.
From the receivers to the running backs. You're like, well, you know, old man Rivers will come in and do a salvageable job. Shit. You know, you and I must have been playing quarterback there, you know, whatever. It just affects the whole team as a core. You know what I mean?
And then you look like the opposite end of that, right? Like the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold. They signed Sam Darnold, and everyone was just laughing at him.
Laughing. And he was great. He wasn't a superstar, but he didn't need to be a superstar. All he needed to be was a good salvageable quarterback and a good game manager, and that's exactly what he did. And you know what? At the most crucial time of the year, he made zero mistakes.
Yeah.
He made zero mistakes, which is what he was known for in the past. You know what I mean?
Yep, thrown to ghost.
I mean, unbelievable, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and now you have, you know, arguably the best receiver in the NFL, maybe 1A or whatever, to Puka Nacua. But, man, that kid's just going to keep getting better, and better, JSN. He's so damn good. It's incredible. He really is.
And like they've done a great job with Seattle being able to like manage the salary cap, do all the stuff that they needed to do. I said it last year. I probably shouldn't say it again this year because it came back and bit me in the ass. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl this year. I still feel like the Rams are the best team on paper.
They're great. They were great, and they were last year. But it doesn't matter. The best team doesn't always win. You know. I think that I really liked the whole story with Seattle, and to me, you know, gosh, it was for me. It's tough that they decided to part ways with Kenneth Walker III. I mean, that's a tough, and I agree with you in the respect that there's not as much of a stock on running backs, but damn. Boy, you get rid of a good running back, though, and they proved what he could do when he's given the time to play without Charbonnet on his tail the whole time, huh? You know,
and that's the crazy thing to me about it too, right? Is like you have a guy who's a Super Bowl MVP, and you're willing to just walk away from him that fast.
I mean, to me, that was dumb. I'm sorry. That you know, look, I get it. You win a Super Bowl, they're selling the team. You know, it's also a financial issue. It's like, hey, man, we're going to maximize our profits, and strike when the iron is hot. But damn, you don't give up on a guy like that when he's in the prime of his career and he's just starting to gel. That was a terrible. I'm sorry, that was a terrible move. It really
goes
was.
to Kansas City, who really needed running backs.
They're going to be good. I mean, now it's hard to say how good they're going to be without Mahomes because you and I both talked about this. You think he's going to maybe come back 3 quarters into the year? Or is he even going to play next year?
I honestly don't think there's a need to bring him back.
So you don't even think he's going to come back?
Let him get completely healthy.
Yeah.
You finish wherever you finish. You get draft picks. You help out that offensive line.
Yeah.
Spend these next 2 years doing nothing but strengthening up that offensive line. So whenever Mahomes comes back, you have Rashee Rice, who's been able to do some stuff. Kelsey should more than likely be retired, but Noah Gray is a really good tight end as well. Then you have, Kenneth Walker and Isaiah Pacheco back there splitting carries in the backfield. Now you've built yourself another
Is Pacheco, he's still there as well, or did he leave? I thought he left.
I think he left.
He left. Right. Did he go to New Orleans or something? I think I do like though that they still have Hunt, and I think Hunt's that utility guy that he's going to get a lot of those goal line carries, and he's going to be that brawler. And
Pacheco went to the Lions.
He went to the Lions, okay, and then of course they also got rid of the Lions, got rid of David Montgomery. He went somewhere else, so now it's going to be Montgomery. Pacheco becomes the new Montgomery. You think he's still, or no? It's just going to be. They're just going to go 100% all in on Gibbs.
I would say right now that you kind of have to go all in on Gibbs.
Gibbs is your guy. Gibbs is your guy. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see Hunt as well, but obviously it's going to be his backfield there in Kansas City. I mean, they spent a lot of money on Kenneth Walker. So
I've got to look more into like the carousel of players that moved during free agency. I didn't realize this. David Montgomery, what team is he with?
I do remember.
The Houston Texans.
Did he go to? That's right. He went to Houston. And is Joe Mixon ever coming back?
You would figure. I haven't heard anything about it, but maybe that's a question.
But right now, Montgomery's the guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be their starter. That's a big role for him because he's a starting.
Is Chubb still there?
I think he is.
So you got Montgomery, Mixon, and Chubb.
I think Montgomery has to be your starting.
Oh well,
obviously, and Chubb will get a lot of playing time. I don't know what's going on with what's his name? Joe Mixon. I don't know if he's ever coming back. I mean, if he's healthy, if he's not healthy, the fact that it was really an enigma last year. He didn't play at all last year, right? He didn't play at all. No, he did not.
So 5 days ago, the Texans GM said that Joe Mixon is, quote, making progress on his injury, end quote.
We heard that last year, the whole year, didn't we? That's nothing new.
I've been making progress on my knee injuries.
Yeah, me too. Mom, on my neck, my back. I'm still okay, and I'm still hobbling around for crying out loud,
No, I got you. I got you on that one, man. Don't trust me. I get it. Okay, so obviously we've spoken a lot about the NBA. We've spoken a lot about the NFL. This season's going to be fun. Again, you don't know what's going to happen until the games actually play out. No one would have said that the Seattle Seahawks were going to win the Super Bowl last year. And lo and behold, at the end of the season, they're the ones holding the Lombardi Trophy, right? This season, though, is there an absolute favorite? Because, again, I think that the Rams are the best team in the NFL. But I don't know if other people would agree with me and say that they are the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
No, they're not. They're not. I mean, they're good, but they're not great. There's no prohibited favorite. I mean, it's going to be a wide open year again. I think Baltimore, will be hopefully better for their sake. I mean,
they can't be much worse.
They can't be much worse. That was pretty piss poor. Cost John Harbaugh his job now with the Giants.
Yeah, but John Harbaugh's got a hell of a team.
He's got a good team.
The
Giants are going to be tough. The Giants are going to be now not necessarily division winning tough, but they're going to be good.
They're going to cause problems.
I like where they're going. I like the direction.
God, I hate that. I do too.
I do too. I mean, I love their quarterback. I love Jackson Dart. I really do. I think he's going to be a stud.
See, I don't know what to expect from Jackson Dart because I wonder how much of that was, like, again, you know me, you got to show me staying power, right? You can be a great rookie, but whenever teams get, video on you and they've got enough to understand who you are as a player now.
I think he's just getting started.
That's what everyone said about Jaden Daniels.
Well, but he had an injury-riddled sophomore season. But you did say, I give you credit, once in a blue moon, that he was not going to have a great year. And I drank the Kool-Aid like a schmuck, and I drafted him, all high in one draft, and I didn't do very well.
You
obviously.
Laughed at me. You're like, you don't know anything about football, guy. And I was like, it's not going to happen, Brandon.
Yeah, I thought you were a schmuck for a change.
You really
but you are a schmuck.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Every now and then, though, I give you nuggets. They might be shit nuggets, but I give you nuggets.
Who doesn't love a shit nugget? I love shit nuggets,
I know you do.
They're great.
It's your absolute favorite. Once again, everybody, we're hanging out here at Buffalo Wild Wings, 655 Sunland Park Drive in the west side of El Paso. Brandon, the Bottomless Apps are back. I'm bottomless right now. Most people don't realize that.
Look at this.
I am bottomless right now. Brandon, tell everyone about the special.
What agrees you can come get here. $9.99 mix and match, starting with 2. Then you go $2.99 a person over 4. Mozzarella sticks, onion rings, fried pickles, hatch queso, chips and salsa. We'll probably try it all. Then if you could do the premium for $12.99, add cheese curds and chips and guacamole. That's $3.49 per person over 4. Then you have late night happy hour from 9 to 11 p.m. $6 apps, $2 off signature cocktails, $2 off all tall drafts. Also happy hour every day, 3 to 6 p.m. That's Monday through Friday. They have UFC here. They have NBA playoffs, NHL, baseball, you name it, they got it. Awesome.
There's something that they've got on CBS Sports Network that's like got some of my attention up here. Just seeing horses. I saw a couple of horse hooves in an ice bucket.
It is the Kentucky Derby. It's the first Saturday in May. It is the Kentucky Derby.
Oh.
Remember when we had Mike Smith on the show?
Yes, I do.
He's the great Mike Smith, the jockey of Justify, a Triple Crown winner. I love Mike Smith. He's a good guy.
I totally forget about the Kentucky Derby.
Me too. And it's funny. I love horse racing, but I am not following it as much as I used to. Remember how we used to pick all the horses for us? And,
yes.
But now I'm, I don't know. I love the Kentucky Derby.
You're my favorite horse.
Well, thank you. Thank you very little. I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. A Jewish horse. Oy vey.
If a horse does that, we got some problems. They just say they neigh, though, so oy neigh.
And I have to save my oats.
All right, but like Brandon said, they got baseball, they got horse racing, they got all kinds of stuff. I don't know what they're doing to these horses. It seems inhumane, but
Yeah.
whatever.
It is a little inhumane.
It does look
Horse
right.
racing is inhumane. Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, you're running a poor animal that's the size of a horse, running it, and putting shoes on it and paying money to watch it run. Poor animals.
I don't know what that is.
Human beings are wacko, aren't they?
We are.
We are nuts, man. We are a nuts species.
We don't deserve this planet,
We
but that's
are-
a different
we are
topic for another
completely-
day.
We really don't. We really don't. The flies deserve it over us. That's so funny, dude.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's show. Brandon, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. David, I got nothing but love for you guys. Again, come on out here, Buffalo Wild Wings, 655 Sunland Park Drive. We got the NBA playoffs, all that stuff going on, and of course, the Bottomless Apps, guys.
Come get the grease.
Trust me, we're a couple of fat guys. Whenever fat guys approve of
He's
food,
fat, not me. I'm
you
spelled.
will love it. He
Yeah.
is very svelte,
Black and white cookie.
very muscular.
We love y'all. Have a good. We'll see you next week. Bye. That was funny.